Well, we know the Broncos are good because they're the reigning AFC champions, even though they got stomped out and punked in the Super Bowl. But the reality is that I think a legitimate argument could be made that the 49ers just may be bad right now. You got to remember that Colin Kaepernick averaged less than 200 yards a game passing last season. We know how that he can run the football, and he's one of the biggest threats in the NFL running the football. We also know that the read options that he was running a couple of years ago were cut down significantly last year, even though he still ran for over 500 yards. But in the end, he's got to improve upon his accuracy, and he's got to show that he can really zip that ball on a repetitive and continuous level effectively in order for this offense to go. Frank Gore is coming off of 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, but he turned 31. A lot of people looking at him saying he's a bit slower or whatever the case may be. I think that's bad enough, and that's why you saw the San Francisco offense be neutralized to some degree, but you got to give credit where credit is due to Denver's defense. They have a different mindset and a different attitude. Certainly, Peyton Manning came out, played 2 series. His second series, he was perfection with 8 for 8. Demaryius Thomas, I believe, had a 20-yard gain. You look at some of the things that they happened in terms of their ability to move the football, and they were moving it very, very easily, I might add. And it just seemed like San Francisco posed little to no defense whatsoever. And then I'm looking at guys, Skip, they look like they were completely lost. And over the last 2 seasons, I mean, you got Deshaun Goldson. He had left last year, before last season. And then this offseason, who's gone now? You've got Dante Whitney. He's in Cleveland. You've got Terrell Brown. He's with the Raiders. Excuse me. You got Carlos Rogers, who obviously was cut for salary cap reasons, and then he joined Brown with the Raiders. And clearly there seems to be some issues with San Francisco's secondary. There's no question about that. So to me, even though Denver was formidable last night, they were actually dominant. At the same time, they are who we thought they were. You've got Peyton Manning, you've got Demaryius and Julius Thomas with a Wes Welker and what have you. You've got your requisite weapons. On the defensive side of the ball, Ware, Aqib Talib and those boys joined the crew. So we expected them to be more formidable defensively as well. What we did not anticipate was for San Francisco to throw up a donut, while debuting in their new stadium, Levi Stadium. But that's what ended up happening. So to me, they're worse as opposed to Denver being better.
Yesterday, Peyton Manning was simply that good. And Brock Osweiler, obviously the backup Denver quarterback, was that much better than all 3 of the San Francisco backup quarterbacks. Because starting with Blaine Gabbert, the 49ers don't have a backup quarterback, which is, God help them. I hope that Colin Kaepernick can get through the season unscathed, because I don't think they can win a game without Colin Kaepernick at quarterback. Now back to Peyton. He was in MVP form already yesterday. He just toyed with actually what was left of the 49er defense, and he's already the odds-on favorite among the odds makers to win another MVP, which should actually be his 3rd straight MVP. You remember he didn't win 2 years ago. Adrian Peterson did, shouldn't have. But I'm sticking by what I'm saying, and I don't want to get off track here, but this is why, once again, I said going back 2.5 years ago, Indy should have never let Peyton Manning go. I know they chose Andrew Luck over Peyton, and I said that Peyton would give Indy a better Super Bowl shot the next 3 years. And I think I'm right on schedule, because Peyton still has another all-pro MVP style year. If not, I think he will win the MVP this year. So when he and Brock Osweiler combined to go 22 of 27 and they play 45 plays in that game, the home team's in big trouble, because I'm going to point out to you, just to give you a little ammo to defend your team, your defense was without Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman and Jason Smith and Ray McDonald and Tremaine Brock, and I can go on. And the offense, and I don't know why Harbaugh didn't play his offense a little bit more, but a number of the starters, especially a number of the receivers, starting with Vernon Davis and Anquan, they barely played in the game, like 3 plays, and then they were out of the game. So it wasn't exactly a showcase. And then your kicker, Phil Dawson, he goes way wide right on 2 kicks, his first 2 from 55 and 45, or at least they would have gotten on the scoreboard. Remember, he's going on 40 years of age, so you could have a little issue there. And then I'm going to throw one last thing at you. I know you didn't cover the NFL the way I did, so I doubt you've been to Candlestick Park for a football game. Did you ever get there by chance?
I have.
Okay,
I've
good.
been there twice. I've been there twice. Twice.
Listen, it was my favorite place to watch a game because great, crazy things always happened at Candlestick. It was creepy, and it was muddy, and it was windy, and it was foggy, but I loved the place because it just gave us such great drama. And I'm thinking that, and again, it's way too early to leap to this conclusion, but it was interesting that they finally moved to the cookie cutter stadium, and it's great, and it's got all the bright things, and it looks beautiful, but it looks like every other stadium in the league to me, to my eye. I think they're going to lose a little home field advantage this year, maybe going forward. It's like the Cowboys go from Texas Stadium with the hole in the roof so God could watch his team to Jerry World, which was like a national stage, the greatest stadium ever built. And I don't know. I just wonder if 34-0 gave you an early sign that the home team won't have that big a home field advantage the way they did at Candlestick.
I think that's a legitimate point because, Skip, with Seattle being your primary element of competition, you see how this stadium is, how it's built, you know, aesthetically, the impact that the noise from the crowd has. You didn't get that feeling yesterday with Seattle. You look at New Orleans and Carolina, teams expected and anticipated to be threats. It didn't seem to have that kind of feel to the new stadium as well. A matter of fact, even though I don't compare it to the billion-dollar playpen of Jerry Jones, at the same time, one could make the argument that you were so caught up in things and how it looked in the new confines that it didn't present itself as much of a home field crowd. And I think that a team like San Francisco, who's smash mouth, I think you need that desperately. And the fact that they seem to have lost that, I think that may have a profound effect on this season moving forward.